Oh, it's wobbly. My name's Bob, and welcome to a new Shizzle tutorial. And yes, I did wave there like Forrest Gump. I bought this thing, straight into the bin you go. And this thing, I'll be keeping this, more about that later. And this thing. Okay, cut the crap. So, the time codes are below. We're going to go through how to use styles in Affinity Designer. Have a look at the Shizzle. And we're going to recreate bits of the snow body, which is a sample file which comes with the Shizzle. And then using the Shizzle for an illustration with fills and tones. Let's go! So before we start looking at the Shizzle stuff, I'm going to show you how to use and create styles in Affinity Designer. Now this is Affinity Designer on the Mac on desktop. Now, I'm scrolling like a madman through the reference PDF, but we'll get to that later. So, let's make a whole new fresh blank document and put in some random shapes. So we have a circle, a square, well, not a square, you know what I mean. Blue, green, yellow, fantastic. And now we're going to apply some random horrible looking effects to create our sample styles. Now again, it looks silly, but it's just to show you. And there's a dog barking in the background, and welcome to my personal hell. So now we will create styles from these shapes. So on the Mac, at least it's right click. We do that now. Yeah, so right click, create style, right click, create style. Now we draw fresh shapes, a star, and as soon as we click onto our new styles, bam, it's applied. So, that was a horrible example, but now we show you the Shizzle. So here we have 4 shapes, and as we click through, boom, 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 you see wonderful, wonderful hand-drawn textures, tones, everything that you need to instantly add that hand-drawn look to your flat vector shapes in one click. Now, we take this one, and this is one of my favorite styles that I've made. It's called Piatra 2, I think, or Piatra 3. And when we go to the appearance panel, the appearance studio, we can see that one layer is the fill, the bitmap fill, and the other layer is a standard color fill. So because it's a vector, you can add gradients, you have full control over whatever you want there. And because this layer is a bitmap, you can apply blend fills like overlay, multiply, etc. So that's the basics of it. When you press G on the keyboard, you can rotate, position and resize, rescale. And then there's an option to spin it 90 degrees at each click. You can constrain the bitmap by clicking the lock image. And that's about it. So now let's apply what we've just seen to a real illustration. Now this picture is all vector, and this comes with the Shizzle style set when you purchase it. Not if, when you purchase it. So everything in here, everything that I have selected here has the Piatra style applied to it. And you can see we're doing the same effects. We're pressing G on the keyboard to resize, rescale. And then we can just click through like a madman and apply different ones. As simple as that. There's Piatra again at the bottom. And again, I'm stuck on Piatra, but there's 100 styles in this kit, in this set even. And let's take a look at where our good friend Piatra actually came from. So let's take a quick look at some of the origins of these styles. So this one, Piatra, comes from the metal plating on a kid's ride-along toy thing. And, you know, happy accidents. Here's an accident, me cleaning. That was a miracle. But I saw this wonderful high contrast swooshy image made from the suds. And I think there's about 6 styles which come from that same filthy pan. Here I am just applying. Yeah, there we go. That's her. Nicey nice. And then another one of my favorites comes from a bottle of Coke that was in the fridge. Don't normally drink Coke, but I don't know why it was there. Serendipity. And that became, I think it's called, I forget the name of it. But those bubbles became those scaly things. And again, that witch character comes in the style set when, hint hint, you buy the pack. Available on the Affinity store. So here we are with another sample file which comes with the Shizzle set. This one's called Snowbody's Business. Hey. No, Snowbody's Business. So everything in this is a vector and is created in, well, nearly everything in this is a vector and created with the Shizzle. Even this, even the vector trees there, that's a vector brush that comes with this, with the set. And she's not a vector, she's a pixel. The cheek of her, get her out of there. But you can see that the shadows, yep, we can resize that. The inside of the monster, that texture, is a Shizzle style. We just zoom in, press G, and la-di-da, look at that. And it can be changed to anything you want. And you know, I must say, that does look good. Surprised myself. Even the claws, each part of that is a Shizzle style. Sometimes I can't say Shizzle style. And it's too hot here. It's it was 37 degrees a minute ago. I'm having my head under the desk because the computer fan is going zoom, zoom, zoom. Hopefully you can't hear it. But it's been a hard day today. God love me. So within the Shizzle set, you get assets. Now assets are pre-made bitmaps and graphics which you can just pull off, he says, nice, that you can place into the artboards. So that's the one. That's what the trees are made from. That's a rectangle with a wobbly edge. So we just plop that over there. And you know what's coming next? We open up the styles and wait for it. Ah! There you go. Look at that. So each one of these trees, well right now they're just rectangles, but you can see bam, 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 they get a lovely style applied to them. And same thing, you can change the base layer in one click. Now let's just throw them into some kind of composition so they look like trees. And again, sorry if I'm slurring and spitting all over this mic. I'm struggling to get the microphone set up. And I don't know, I have a hair lip or something. Like the elephant man. There you go, snow. Oh yeah, the other thing I forgot to say is that this has all been done with a mouse, a crappy mouse. The cheaper, the better. No graphic tablets being used here, pal. I use the iPad to draw. If I need to draw, I use the iPad. I go outside, I get out of this office. So everything here has been done with the normal mouse. And there you go. There's 3 trees. Yeah, can you hear the fan there? Let me just move the mic up a little bit. Yeah. Dokie. Whoa. There, nearly fell off my chair there with the excitement. So let's do an illustration. Let's do an illustration. I tell you, man, I'm melting here. So, the way I like to colour my pictures. Oh man. Oh. Oh Jesus Christ. Oh. I've got the giggles, man. Oh, fuck's sake. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, stop messing. So, whoops. Hang on. There you go. So, in this picture, we have 3 layers. The chair, character number 1, character number 2, and then with the pen tool, the node tool, I go click, 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 and make the basic shapes. So the colors that they are right now doesn't matter, because you know what's coming next. Right, there you go. Shizzle Whizzle. So yeah, there's my favorite one. So you're beginning to see how it works, that you make the basic shape and then just go crazy trying to find the right one. Which again, some artists might tell you that this is not the right way to do things, but what do they know? For real. That looks good. Red, yep. This is a piece of promotional artwork from another game that I'm working on. Last year I stopped. Well, last year I stopped doing some things and started doing other things. How about that? And one of those other things was to start creating my own products, which I own 100%. Instead of working for companies, I still work for companies, but I decided, why not? I know how to make a physical product, and with all of the whole new avenues open to independent sellers on Amazon, etc., I said, why not own the whole thing myself? So this is a game that I'm making called Daytrip to Hearsay. There's another game in production which is going to be out before this one, but the shizzle was created for this game. As I started making the assets for this, everything was spooky and red, sort of like what you see now. And the first 3 or 4 styles were made just for this game, again for my own personal use, governor. And I think I'll show you the trailer now to show you the game, and you'll get. Whoops, that cut off there. Sorry about that. So yeah, excuse me as I clear my throat. I have laughing attacks. I'm sweating and coughing all over the place. But I promise the next video I make, and I will make another video after this, will be a lot more professional. I'm gonna get the audio sorted. So yeah, the quarantine in Spain as of July the 1st, 2020 has been sort of lifted more or less. There's still loads of restrictions. You can go to pubs, you can go to restaurants, but of course with masks. And it's weird, you know. It's a strange thing for me, because I try to avoid my wife's family like a virus. And we had 3 months of enforced anti-socialism, and now even though I'll try to blame my fear of the virus, I can't wiggle out of family functions. And last Saturday I went to a surprise birthday party for my bro-in-law, who is a teacher, and my nephew has a beef with his history teacher who was there at the party. So I got to meet him at last, and my nephew has been failing history consistently with this dude. So I wanted to talk to him about the curriculum, and obviously when they're doing Spanish history and all the Spanish monarchy and the Crusades, I don't know that much about it, but when they get into contemporary history, the past 100 years, I'll be able to help them. So I says to the fella, "Hey, history teacher, when are we going to get into the Second World War at least, so I can help him with his grades?" And he starts mumbling and going on, and he mentions that they already covered a little bit with Rommel and Monty, which they should start with that. Get the kids into it, you know what I mean? Get the kids watching Saving Private Ryan, Medal of Honor. That's how I got into it. And your love of history will take off from there. So I says to the bloke, "Oh really? You covered Montgomery. What do you think about Operation Market Garden?" Now, if you have any interest in the Second World War, or if you know anything about Montgomery, you'll know that Market Garden was it's synonymous with his name. It's like JFK and the Cuban Missile Crisis. You can't have one without the other. So just as a history nerd, I wanted to hear his opinion on it. And Mr. History Teacher, and I'm trying not to say a bad word here, clown didn't know what I was talking about. And he says to me, this is all, by the way, I talk in Spanish most of my day, believe it or not. And I speak perfect Spanish. Horrible English, perfect Spanish. He says, oh yeah, maybe it's a different name. Maybe Operation Market Garden's a different name in Spanish. I said, there was a pool right beside us. I said, bro, jump into that swimming pool right now before I push it in, you dope. The names don't change. And I got to humiliate this history teacher who's been bullying my nephew. I could see that when I saw him, and sicken him. So yeah, I've told that story 3 times today. So I've improved on it, but I think I need to pick up the pace a little bit. So the picture's nearly ready, and I will drop a overlay to level out all of the colours. So let's take a look at the trailer coming up right now. I'll stop talking. Here we go. A vicious rumor. Oh shit. This is all placeholder artwork, but you get the idea, you know what I mean? This was made as soon as Affinity Designer 1.7 came out, with the appearance panel and the isometric stuff. I think that was 1.6. I started making this game. Before version 1.7, there was no appearance, and you couldn't really make these styles. So yeah, that's the game, Daytrip the Hearsay. If you want to be a playtester or get involved, drop me a line. So now we have all of the base shapes with colours. So now we're going to add some halftones. So halftones are screens of lines or dots used to give used for shading, primarily in comics and print media. You see them a lot in manga. Or manga. It's called manga now. When I was a kid, it was manga. Excuse me. So there's a whole set of styles in the Shizzle dedicated to repeating patterns, so you can make them as big as you want. And on this character's eyes here, you can see I've created one shape, welded the shape together, and I can increase the thickness, the density of the tones by pressing G and pulling the handle. And it's a cool effect. You can see it straight away. Zoom out there, man. Yeah, look at that. Coolly. Oh. And same again. Plop some tone onto our side. My dad is a graphic designer, and when I was growing up in the studio, they'd have sheets of letraset and all these tones, which you would burnish onto the page. I always love playing with them, but you know, these days it's all digital. And I forgot to mention that if you want to try the Shizzle for free, I'll put a link to the Affinity Lockdown video that I did last month, and there's 3 or more freebies that you can install, and it's another tutorial. There's actually, at the end of this video, I'll put a little summary of that video into this one, and then I'll also show you some other bits and pieces that I'm working on towards the end. So this character here, the same thing again, clicky. Again with the mouse, you just draw the shape, and it's so quick. Like traditionally, comics used to be colored in Photoshop, and you would use the lasso, the lasso mask thing, to draw around the area, and then add a solid fill, flats as they're called. Lower echelon people or lower rung people would do the flats, and then the colorist would add the color. I hated that system of coloring comics. I used to make loads of comics that way. Actually, in Corel Photo Paint, not in Photoshop. I've had it be for Photoshop from day one. You could dedicate a whole YouTube channel to that. But this way of using vectors as the main shape, and then not necessarily my assets, but just this way of like click, and then you have complete control, and it's a lot cleaner, easy, scalable than using the traditional comics way, the traditional horrible way of using the lasso thing. Hey, there we go. So I moved their eyes to look up at her pal there. So you can see that the colors don't really match, or I suppose you could say mesh, or whatever that word is. So a really cheap and sneaky way is just to get one big solid shape and plop it over the whole thing and set it to overlay, soft light, or multiply. I usually use overlay, and it really just blends everything together. It looks like the taller character is has a steering wheel in her hands, but it's supposed to be her handbag. But too late now. So what can you do? So that's the fur part of her coat. Make it all one piece by selecting all and hitting add, and then you can ploppy shizzy mac whizzy. And now everybody's favorite lazy and cheap trick. Whoa, what was that? And now we're adding in another halftone to give some depth. So simple, so clean, so fresh, so. I remember Martin Scorsese saying that about Michael Jackson. So simple, so simple, so clean, so fresh, or so simple, so clean, so pure. Let's look that up. So now I duplicated the artboard because I want to make some bitmap edits to the second one. There's two little insects crawling around the back of the chair that look dopey, so I'm gonna remove them. What am I doing? Aha! Now I'm going to put in the flanks. So in the Shizzle asset pack, there's loads of these flanks for adding tones to the edges and to the corners, etc. So you drag those in. They're not styles. So check this out. One of my favorites. Blam! Ooh, look at that. And then I go for each project I have assets that I create. And here I have a badge that I've reused on a few different things. And it's so cool. Everything's in the same place and easy to find. And there we go. And now I'm trying to add in a pre-made texture to the seat, but nobody cares. For me it's done. And that's about it. Just we remove the two insects in the pixel persona. And again, this is why I love the Affinity apps, No messing around. You can just watch this. I want to delete my bitmap with the mouse. No graphics tab. There you go. So back in the day, if you wanted to do that back in Illustrator and Photoshop, you'd need to bring a packed lunch with you. The amount of things you'd have to do. You know what I mean? Switch between the two of them. Connect the graphics tablet. Put your beret on straight. Put your Radiohead album on. You know what I mean? So we're nearly at the end of the video, and thank you so much for making it this far. It's been a rough ride for the both of us, but I hope you've learned something, and I hope you buy the Shizzle. No pressure or anything, but go on. This is Flea Circuits. This is the next game that I'm working on. I'm gonna do some tutorials, or not tutorials. I probably won't talk on the next video. Be better for everybody, but it will document the whole development of the game from Affinity Designer for making the graphics, and then like this in Publisher for making the actual game assets. And as I said, if you go to the official Affinity channel, there is a cool video that I made a few months ago showing how, look at that, I made all that. And if you check the description box on that video, you'll see there's freebies, so you can play around with it yourself. And there I am doing my favourite thing in the world. That's in the freebie files, I think. And there he is. He got his haircut, I think, or something. I think that was during the quarantine, hence the waxy appearance. Nice. What's going on now? So yeah, thanks for watching. I've seen on Instagram and some other places that people are starting to use the Shizzle to create their own artwork, and I'm gonna show you some of that stuff now. This young man, Johannes, I hope I said your name right, bro. Check this out. Nicey nice. I love the strawberry. Philo the Wisp, he's making comics. So yeah, if you're using the Shizzle, please send me a link on social media, hashtag the Shizzle. I feel like a dope saying that, but please do. The Shizzle available now on the Affinity store, and if you want to get involved with any of my other projects for playtesting or hopefully buying my games, clamnuts.com is the place to be. See ya, thank you so much, bye bye.